So let's get started building Windows Phone apps. First, we have to install the tools. If you've already worked your way through Joe Marini's Windows Phone 7 First Look course, you can skip to the next chapter because we'll be covering the same ground here about installing the development tools. Building apps for Windows Phone 7 requires the installation of Visual Studio 2010 and the Windows Phone developer tools. If you already have Visual Studio Professional or Ultimate, you just need to download the tools and use the version you already have. If you don't have Visual Studio, the developer tools include Visual Phone Developer Express, which is a free version suitable for phone development in C#. To get set up, you go to the Microsoft Developer Network, or msdn.microsoft.com, Windows Phone Hub. First, we'll review the system requirements, including the hardware and software required for the Windows Phone emulator, downloading and installing the tools, and installing the Silverlight Toolkit for Windows Phone. The Windows Phone developer tools require either Windows Vista or Windows 7. Windows XP is not supported. One of the crucial things that you need to know for Windows Phone development is that the Windows Phone emulator requires a specific base version of Microsoft DirectX and a special Windows Phone display driver in order to be able to use the emulator to develop your applications at full speed. Most machines, if they're 2009 and beyond, and especially if you're running Windows 7, have the appropriate hardware and drivers, but it's something that you want to check before you start developing because while the emulator will run without that particular driver combination, it will run much, much slower. And if you're trying to do anything with animation or video, it pretty much is unusable. So make sure that you've got the right video card and the right drivers. Now we're going to switch over to looking at the Microsoft developer site. And here's where we go and get the developer tools. We start out at the App Hub, which has a big button right here about downloading the free tools. We'll be coming back to the App Hub later when we talk about how to submit your apps to the marketplace and how to register as a developer. But for right now, we'll just click Download the free tools, and you can click right here to download the SDK. One important thing to note is that the operating system must be the ENU or English United States version unless you install one of the localized versions of the Windows Phone SDK for one of these other languages such as English, Japanese, Chinese, and so forth. You need 4 gigabytes of free disk space and 3 gigabytes of RAM. One very important thing is that, again, the Microsoft Windows Phone emulator is a virtual machine in itself, so Windows Server is not supported and virtual machines are not supported for development. In addition, in some environments, for some applications, even using remote desktop to connect to your machine for doing Windows Phone development is an environment you don't want to use. So pretty much if you're going to be doing Windows Phone development, you want to have a dedicated machine that you're connected up to with a dedicated display so that you can get the full performance that you need. Okay, once we've got the tools installed and fired up and ready to go, in the next section we'll build the traditional Hello World application for Windows Phone.